Fantastic. So again, my name is Marissa, and we're going to get started here. So first things first. All right, so my name is, I've said this so many times, I'm Marissa. I currently live in Southern Utah. I grew up in Minnesota, where I truly fell in love with the wilderness, with getting outside, with being in nature. What I found when I was really young, like going through college even, and then just past college, is how I seemed to be so like in love with the wilderness, and it just helped me feel better. I didn't feel like I had nearly as much stress as a lot of my friends. And I didn't feel like I had nearly as much going, like I felt like I had just as much going on in my life, but I had less stress. And it felt like the wilderness was working. I had no idea what was going on. I just knew that I loved being outside, maybe had to do with doing things I loved, whatever. But over time, now that I'm an adult, full-blown adult, I have learned that there's actual science behind nature helping to ease our nervous systems. It really helps us in a lot of different ways. We're going to dive into that a little bit further down the road. But this is me climbing in the mountains last summer with my husband. And something that I love about doing activities in the wilderness and outside is that they are stressful. Like they do add stress to our bodies, but that is not bad stress. There's good stress and there's bad stress, not to be so binary, but there's stress that our bodies are supposed to go into, and then we manage it and we move through it appropriately, which I'm going to take you fully down this road where we're going to fully understand how that works. So stay on board. It's going to be exciting. I found this information to blow my mind. Amazing. So how do we support you? So the number one thing that I just want to briefly touch on here is that we have a wellness retreat. We call it Solitude. It's based out here in Southern Utah. This is a wilderness experience specially curated for women to help you heal your burnout. It is incredibly effective. I wish I could find better words in this exact moment, but this is live. But every single person who comes out onto this event has these incredibly life-changing experiences. This is one of the things that I'm most proud of because it feels like a really powerful, holistic way to manage our stress and get through it. And then also move on and bring these skills back to your life at home. The other main way that we do this is through an online course. We have an online course. So if you're not quite ready, you don't have the time or space to really sign up for that retreat yet, this online course is a really great stepping stone to getting there eventually, if you want to. This burnout root cause course, it's supported. So you have one-on-one support with me. There's coaching involved. There's also lessons that you get to go through. And it really is a beautiful way to kind of intermingle those things. Every single person who's watching this, seeing this, you have the opportunity to have a free one-on-one intro call with either myself or my partner currently, Kyle. One of us will be able to take a call with you in the next week or two. And on these calls, we will talk about where you're at with your own journey with stress and burnout, help you get a plan in place for summer 2022, because it's happening. It's happening. It's almost July, and I don't know where the time went, but it's been very quick. And we talk about how we may be able to help you if it makes sense. Maybe it's just tips. Maybe we suggest the course. Maybe it's the retreat, whatever it is. But we want to support you. That's my biggest goal. How can we support women in healing our burnout and helping us? Because we want to live a long time. We want to not be stressed all the time. Life tends to be more enjoyable when we're not incredibly stressed out. Yeah, amazing. So moving on, what is burnout and how is our burnout, women's burnout, different than men's burnout? Also, I just want to note, if anybody has any questions throughout the entire time, feel free to write questions in the chat. I have it on Zoom or on Facebook. You can write a question in the comments and I will try to get to it. So burnout is defined by depersonalization, a decreased sense of accomplishment, or emotional exhaustion. And it can be any mixture of these. It's not like if you don't have one, it doesn't mean you're burnt out. You can have just one of these and be burnt out. We're going to go in depth into what those mean here in a second. But one of the main points I want to bring home right here is, how is men's and women's burnout different? And one of the biggest factors that we have to acknowledge is innate socialization of our society. Women in general, this is very broad strokes, so hang in there with me. We're painting with a broad stroke here, but women are socialized to be pretty and happy and calm and generous and attentive to the needs of others. Men are not, because their survival does not rely on them being taken care of by another. So this is generational. So think about this longer term. This is a generational thing that's going on. Generationally, we have been trying, hold on one second. Perfect. Okay. So generationally, women have needed men. We weren't able to get credit cards. We weren't able to live lives without men. So we had to make sure that we had that safety blanket. We had to appease them. We had to take care of them. And we had to take care of the family. That was the job of the women. Okay. So regardless of whether or not you subscribe to any pieces of that now, that is still in our lineage. That is still in our society and how we see women. We don't teach women early on to find purpose and meaning, because their purpose and meaning is to be attentive to the needs of others so that we can then survive. And the way that we just expect things differently from women than we do from men. And that's can be a wide variety of things. We see this show up in parenthood, like the loudest, and I think it's talked about the most in parenthood, but this also shows up out in work environments. This also shows up in all these other places. All right, so we're going to dive into the causes a little bit deeper here, just so that everybody can have a better picture of what depersonalization, a decreased sense of accomplishment, and emotional exhaustion actually mean. So depersonalization, this shows up most often in men, honestly. And this is the depletion of empathy, caring, and compassion. This is just no longer caring. I think that description is really powerful and like really describes it. And I would imagine that everybody here watching this has that ability to like be like, oh, yeah, like I've seen that. It's like you just don't have time to care. You just can't anymore. The next one is a decreased sense of accomplishment. And this is the feeling as though nothing you do matters, like basic. And this tends to show up a lot in healthcare workers. Aligning depersonalization and burnout was just a light bulb moment. Yes, huge. So decreased sense of accomplishment, that shows up in healthcare workers a lot. How so? Because they are, especially the last couple of years, they have been in the hospitals working and taking care of the same type of cases with COVID, especially, and just really coming up against a wall, not especially initially, like that first year, they didn't know what they were doing. They were just trying to figure it out and hope for the best. And there was just so much, they're just coming up against this wall of constantly getting hit with the same thing. This shows up powerfully in teachers as well. Teachers are often coming up against the same thing, the same problems, the same issues, and they're not getting the support that they need. And it doesn't matter what they do, nothing changes. One of the major ones here that shows up, so emotional exhaustion is biggest on the page for a reason, because emotional exhaustion shows up huge in women because of the things we talked about on the previous side. We are socialized to be pretty and sweet and happy and attentive to the needs of others. All of those things have to do with emotional exhaustion. So to understand emotional exhaustion, I'm going to dive into what an emotion is so that we are all on the same page and we all understand. So emotions can be seen like a tunnel. Think of this analogy. So in a tunnel, there's a light on the other side. You just have to get through it. And that is the lifetime of an emotion. An emotion itself is not inherently going to stay with you forever. You're not inherently going to be stuck in that tunnel forever. Emotional exhaustion is getting stuck in that tunnel. So, very simple example. You have a crush on somebody, and your crush comes into the room. And this is like one of those teenage crushes, the ones that like just flood you with emotion and stress. And like, oh my God, he's there, she's there. What are we gonna do? Oh, okay, be cool, be cool. I got this, I got this. You have that moment. Your body goes into a stress response because something is happening. You are having a stimulus that is stimulating an emotion. Okay. So your emotion is being stimulated. You have all these feelings. And ideally, eventually, your crush leaves and you move on. And then you get to just let go of those emotions and you move through it. Emotional tunnel, getting stuck in that is, that's like your crush being there 24/7 and it like constantly taunting you and you not being able to get over it. Like this is that feeling of like, oh my God, like your body is just constantly like feeling that pressure of that emotion. Getting stuck in that emotional tunnel, we get stuck because we often don't have the safety to express that emotion. Think about something at work that pissed you off, made you angry, whatever. So you had something going on, made you angry, but you don't get to express that. It's not appropriate, especially in women. Women don't get to be emotional at work. So we hold it in and we wait and we say, maybe I'll feel this later. Or we pretend like it's not going to affect us. But the reality is, if your body went into a stress response, it's affecting you. It's just a reality. So we're going to go into what stress is, what a stress response is, and what's the difference between stress and a stressor. But does everybody understand emotional exhaustion? Emotional exhaustion is doing too much for too long. You're getting stuck in that tunnel way too often, all the time, and you don't have time to complete your stress cycle, which we're going to dive into. Okay. So stress versus a stressor. This is huge. Like stressors are the actual trigger. Those are the things that are really hard for us that we don't get to have control over. Stressors are happening all day, every day. Sometimes they stop bothering us as much, but in general, stressors are that. The stress is the neurological, physiological response. This is what's going on in your body, regardless of whether or not you want it to. You don't get to choose like when your adrenal glands let go of their cortisol levels, like you just don't. We have no control. This is part of the autonomic central nervous system. So this is not one of the things that we get to choose. Okay. So everybody here, if you're live, if you're watching this as a replay, if you're on Facebook, whatever it is, write down right now what your stressors are. Take like 20 seconds to like do a quick like stressors. Kid last night, they suddenly had a project that needed to be done. That sucked. I couldn't sleep. That was a stressor. I was really not wanting to cook. That was a stressor. That guy at work really sucks. He was kind of mean to me. That was a stressor. Write down some stressors really quick. And on a piece of paper, if you don't have a piece of paper in your head, go through a quick little list of what are stressors. Okay, awesome. Hopefully you guys all wrote something down. Let me put them in the chat if you want to share stressors that you have. Put them in the thing on Facebook, in the comments on Facebook if you want to share there. But the next thing we're going to dive into is so stressors, we need to create boundaries to change them. Yeah. But why is it that we struggle to hold our boundaries? Why is it that we can't actually change these stressors and we keep feeling stress all the time? So the crazy thing is that in order to like create change, to stop having stress responses, one of the things that happens when we're in a stress response is that our brain switches into here and now thinking. And we often want to create a boundary when we're in a state of stress, when really it can be really hard to create a boundary when we're in a state of stress because we're not thinking clearly. This is the basis of it. Boundaries also change the way that we interact in a relationship. They're baseline, like they're redefining relationships, especially if for years you have been like interacting in a relationship a certain way. For your entire time at your job, you have responded to emails at 9 p.m. and you suddenly say, I'm done at 5, or I'm done at 6. I'm not going to respond to emails after that time. That's really hard for other people to handle because you're redefining a relationship, and people are going to push back on boundaries. And then it becomes harder to hold them because you have to keep holding them over and over again until a new normal is established. But when we're really out of a state of stress, when we're connected to what that boundary means to us, what needs to change, the envy, the self-frustration doesn't come up, or it does come up and we work through it powerfully because other people are jealous then. Or you might feel like, who am I to hold this boundary? They've been working here longer and they never do. But it is important that you do because the stress that's going on in your body needs to change. That is the number one thing. Our stress can actually kill us. Heart disease, one of the number one things, I think it's number one. The number one thing that kills Americans is heart disease. One of the number one causes of heart disease is hypertension, which is also in huge relation to stress. So let's dive into the stress cycle. What is happening in that physiological body? This is stress physiology. This stuff blows my mind. And it's incredibly important because this is the stuff that this is why we need to complete our stress cycle. It's because all this stuff is happening. And this stuff over long periods of time are going to kill us. It's the reality. And we don't want to die because of our stress. There's a lot of other reasons we might die in the world. Stress, not one of the things we need to be dying from. So what happens when our body feels stress? We have to first remember that a stress response was created initially, like the way that we evolved as humans is so that when we're in a stress response, we can run away from a lion. Big stressors were the problem, not little stressors, not like the things that were like our taxes and stuff like that. That wasn't part of like a stress response. Stress responses were because we were being chased by lions, we were trying to survive, we were trying to find food, all these basic things. So what happens when we're going into a stress response? Epinephrine acts instantly to push more blood into your muscles so you can run faster. You can be more athletic. Endorphins help you ignore discomfort. Your heart beats faster, which then means that blood is pumping harder and your blood pressure increases, hence hypertension, hence heart disease. You breathe more quickly. Your muscles get tense, hence neck pain, back pain, pain anywhere in your body. Your sensitivity to pain diminishes. So this is why when you're running away from something, you can like twist your ankle and maybe not even realize it because that's not important. What's important is running away. So when you're in a stress response, you may not feel pain in the same way. And then when you're done with your stress response, you might be like, oh God, my body hurts so bad. Like, what did I do? You might have just simply been stressed. Simply, not simple. Our attention is on alert. This is really important. This is in relation to boundaries. Our attention is on alert. So we're focusing on short-term here and now thinking. So when we're focusing on short-term here and now thinking, that is not long-term. And that is your brain trying to keep you alive. That's like, should I turn left or right? If we don't get out of that stress response and we create a boundary and should I turn left or right, that might not be the best boundary for us. It might not be fully aligned with what we want or what we need. So it's really important that we complete our stress cycle, that we start to fully feel our emotions, get through them, so that then we can create a boundary that's going to hold. Because it's hard to hold boundaries, even like the little ones, they're all hard to hold, but we get better at it over time. Your senses are heightened. so you can see better, your eyes, your pupils dilate, all the things like that. And then to maximize your body's efficiency in this state, your other organ systems are deprioritized. So your digestion slows, your immune function shifts, your growth and tissue repair decrease, as well as your reproductive functioning. And that all happens because those things aren't relevant for you staying alive when you're running away from a lion. But the way that we are feeling stress in 2022, those things are relevant to us staying alive, but we get stuck in the stress response. So, anybody have any questions on the stress cycle or what is happening when we go into a state of stress? Let me know if you do, or if there's any light bulb moments. I'd love to hear. So, how do we complete the stress cycle? The first thing here on the top, if you can see my little dot thing here, is getting outside. What does nature do? I'm going to go forward and I'm going to go back. So just hang in there with me. So when we're getting outside, our brains are able to relax. And what's actually happening is throughout the day, every single day, we have a given amount of what we call directed attention. So directed attention is like a glass of water. You only get so much of it throughout the day, and throughout the day, it gets lessened. And there's only 3 ways that it gets to get replenished that this research is speaking to. If you're interested in the article, please let me know and I can send it over to you. I can't remember where the research was done specifically. I think it was up in northern Utah, but I might be wrong. But anyway, so directed attention, glass of water. You only have so much of it throughout the day. Things that deplete our directed attention. That's like the ability to focus. Is your phone dinging, walking down the street, a billboard goes off, a car horn honks, you have to keep walking, something else happens, oh my God, there's an email to write, oh my gosh, my kid is saying something, I need to drink water, have I eaten today? Okay, here we are, let's finish this email. Oh, my phone just dinged again. Oh, is that email important? Yes or no? Those are all the things that deplete our directed attention. If we think evolutionarily, we didn't need to like manage this many things. Like our brains haven't evolved to be able to manage this many things yet. There just wasn't a reason for it. So we get tired. But everybody here knows what that 2 o'clock tired feels like. It's exhausting. It's like I want another cup of coffee. I want to go to sleep. This email is taking me an hour and it should only be taking me 10 minutes. That feeling, that is our directed attention being depleted. So how do we raise our directed attention? Sleep. Sleep is one of the best ways. Every day you kind of get a fresh reset. As long as you're getting good sleep, that's a whole nother conversation. If you're interested in sleep hygiene, let me know. We can chat about that. So sleep, meditation is an effective way of doing this. And then getting outside. For me, getting outside is the simplest one for many reasons, but literally just being in nature helps to relax our brains. And why is that? It's because nature, as long as you feel safe, you have to feel safe in nature. If this is somewhere that's scary, then it's not going to work. But if you feel safe in nature, then nature isn't aggressively taking your attention. It's not. It's subtle. It's modest in the way that it keeps your attention. So if you think about a sunset is like innately calming. Like you just like feel more calm when you are watching a sunset. I think that's universal pretty much. And that's because it's quite literally helping your brain relax. It's not aggressively asking for a bunch of attention. So just getting outside for an hour can help to complete your stress cycle. It can help to bring back that directed attention and revive you. So these are the other really powerful ways to complete your stress cycle. So just getting outside alone is incredibly helpful for our brains. But ways to fully complete that stress cycle, get your body through that emotion. The number one most effective way is to move your body, and moving your body for 30 to 60 minutes. If you don't have 30 minutes, try 5 minutes, try 10 minutes, try doing something. This can be as simple as tensing up every single muscle in your body, really, really tight, and then letting go. right before you walk in your door, after your commute. The commute is one of the most stressful things that humans do every single day. But moving our body, what that's doing is it's telling our central nervous system that, like, hey, we're okay. Everything's fine. We see this show up in nature all the time. Have you ever seen like a deer almost get hit by a car? I grew up in Minnesota. Seen that a lot. Unfortunately, never hit a deer though. Knock on wood. Shouldn't say that. But if a deer almost gets hit by a car, what do? They get off they keep running, they shake their tail, they shake their whole body, they carry on. That part of their life is done. They don't sit there and fixate on it. They're not like, oh, how do I problem solve this right now and fix everything in my life? Like, no, they shake it off and they move on. I also see this in my dog all the time. She gets stressed out for like doing some new training or something like that, and she is stressed. Being humane, that's really funny. Yeah. So if she's really stressed, like, and I'm trying to get her to learn something, she's like having to work really, really hard. Something that goes on for her is once the stressor is done, she figures it out, she shakes it off immediately. Every time you see a dog in a state of stress, once they're done, they shake. They always do. If you have a dog, start paying attention to that because it's really interesting. Animals in general, they're very good at completing their stress cycle. So you too are an animal. Unfortunately, you are not significantly more advanced in your nervous system than a lot of other creatures out there. So we really just need to complete our stress cycle. 30 to 60 minutes of movement. This can be running, this can be dancing, this can be walking, this can be swimming, this can be throwing Beyonce on real loud and just doing the good old shake. Dance it out, whatever you need to do. There's lots of different options here. Get creative. If you're not interested in exercise, you're just not one of those people, try the tensing up your muscles and then relaxing, tensing, and then relaxing. So that's the most effective way to complete our stress cycle. These are all also, the rest of these are also effective ways to complete your stress cycle. They're just a little bit slower. They're not quite as good, but they're still good. You know, don't like get stressed out on how to complete your stress cycle. That's not good. So breathing exercises. Actually, on our online course, I teach a few different breathing exercises to help give you the skills that you need to help complete this stress cycle because it's hard. So we do breathing exercises. That's a great way to complete your stress cycle. Positive social interaction. So positive social interaction, what that means is just having a good interaction. It doesn't have to be with somebody that you love or care for. It could just be the checkout line person, like just having like a baseline, like, hey, how's it going? Things are good. Awesome. Things are positive. And what that's doing is it's cueing to your brain that the world is safe, that it's going to be okay. And that's really what we're doing with the stress cycle. We're trying to tell our bodies, we're trying to tell that central nervous system that, that things are okay. So the other ones, laughter. And this isn't like polite laughter at like your boyfriend's friend's birthday party, you know, when you're like, ha ha ha, you like giggle a little bit, but really it's like not that funny. Been there. But this is like big belly laughter. And it doesn't have to be in relation to the actual thing that stressed you out. So say you're stressed out about work. If you are laughing big belly laughs at the comedy show that you love, that's going to help complete your stress cycle. Affection is an incredible way. And affection has a couple parameters because it's not just a hug and it's not just a quick peck on the cheek. This is like real affection that you have to feel safe with that person. And a test as to like whether or not you feel safe with that person is like a 6-second kiss is one of the rules, or a 20 to 30 second hug. So hugging somebody for 20 to 30 seconds and you both holding your own body weight, like in some regards, and you're just hugging. That is an incredible way to complete your stress cycle. And I bet if you go do it, you'll understand. And then the other one is a 6-second kiss. And the way that I like to think about that is 6 seconds is way too long to be kissing somebody that you do not feel safe with. So we need to be being with people that are safe, because the key is we're telling that part of our brains like, hey, we're okay. We don't need to be stressed out anymore. Okay. A big cry. Everybody here knows how good crying feels. It feels amazing when you're done. Sometimes in the moment you like feel like a pile of blubber in the middle and it's just so sad and hard. But once we actually once we actually get through that, it feels so good. And that's because you've completed that stress cycle. And then the last one is creative expression. Painting. This could be ceramics. This could be music. This could be something. But the thing about art is art helps us fully make it through an emotion. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to fully get through emotions. We're trying to fully complete that cycle. So art is one of those beautiful ways that we actually get to do that. Like songs do that. Like when we're painting, when we're drawing, whatever it is. I actually just bought a bunch of watercolors because I was like, I just feel like I need something different. I love moving my body. I love doing these other things, but I just felt like I needed something creative in my life. And so I bought watercolors. So can you go to Michael's and go buy some watercolors? They were actually on sale right now because Michael's is literally always having a sale. Go buy some watercolor paper and some whatever. And you can do that with your kids. Like you can do that by yourself. You can find your time alone to do that. But these are the ways that are going to be really helpful, because when we complete our stress cycle, then we're not having these symptoms. And these symptoms are the things that kill us. They're going to shorten your lifespan. And that's why it's so important. A really crazy thing is that your quality of relationships is more of a predictor of your health than cigarette smoking. That's a fact. And cigarette smoking is one of the number one predictors of health. If you smoke, smoking, terrible for you, really bad. Whether or not you choose to do it, up to you. That's fine. But everybody knows it's bad for you. It's going to tell you whether or not how long you're going to live. Your relationship quality is also one of those. It's a better predictor than that, which is mind blowing and really scary also. And our relationships sometimes stress us out because sometimes our partner just doesn't know how to show up for us. And we don't have time to tell the people in our lives what we need because we haven't taken time for ourselves to even know. And that's what the events are. That is what we do at Grounding Source. We help you to slow down and really dive in to what do I need? How you're going to have your stress cycle completed, and what can you do differently? So let's start off here right now with making a plan. Okay. So this is going to be quick. But everybody here, think about how you want to complete your stress cycle and get your brain out of this here and now thinking. What is the number one way that you want to do that? And I'll give you guys all a couple minutes. I love that. We can't even communicate what we need because we haven't slowed down enough to check. Exactly. So what are the number one ways that you're going to complete your stress cycle? Maybe it's going to be every day you're going to tense up your muscles before you get in the house and then let them go. Maybe you're going to try to put a 10-minute walk in every morning. Maybe you're going to try to do something else, but there's something in there that you can do. Okay, so integrate and sustain these new habits that support your boundaries. I'm going to move on to the next one. Create one new daily habit that you can engage in every day. So this is going to help support you completing your stress cycle. The hope of this daily habit is to make it really, really simple. So how can you make this simple? Drinking a full glass of water before you're drinking coffee. You can go for a 10-minute walk at the end of the day. You can write 3 daily gratitudes. You can take 30 minutes alone. But when we're finally slowing down and being able to check in with ourselves, then we can communicate what we need from others. So daily habits that I do, usually my daily habits around simplifying my life versus making it more challenging. because we don't want to stress out about things that we're trying to use to complete our stress cycle. So maybe it is having a smoothie every morning for breakfast. Maybe you don't want it, but do it anyways because it's easy, it's simple. Maybe it's eating a bagel every day, whatever it is. But doing something really simple to help complete our stress cycle. Hold on, I'm gonna mute you, Cammie. You just came in. Hello, welcome. We are currently talking about making a plan for completing our stress cycles, which I hope you have time to go run back and watch like the first chunk of this to really dive into understanding what that stress cycle is. But we're completing our stress cycle. Maybe it's going for a 10-minute walk at the end of the day, really just to help complete that stress cycle. If you can get 30 minutes in, if you can get 60 minutes in, that's great, that's better. But 10 minutes does the job. And the key is that I don't want you guys stressing out about how to complete your stress cycle. So if you are here, if you're in other places in Facebook world, all the things, let me know what are thoughts that you guys have that you can do. What's a new daily habit that you can engage in? Some people do going to bed early. Some people, there's all sorts of things. Ooh, go outside when my dogs go outside. That is a great idea. That's phenomenal. Go outside for the 5 minutes that your dogs are outside. Why not? Or the 10 minutes. Work from home, so I have to force my, yes. Working from home. I know I work from home too, and there's a few other people here too that work from home. I used to wear a Fitbit, and sometimes I would look down. I'm like, huh, so you basically stood up and went to the bathroom a few times. You can do better, Marissa. So when we're working from home, it's hard to get ourselves up and moving. But going outside when your dogs go outside, I mean, why the heck not? That's a great idea. So like I mentioned, we have this online course. And this online course is really like a 6-week deep dive into things that are going to help support you in completing your stress cycle. It's going to support you in understanding what is stressing you out. What are the, like, we can put Band-Aids on things all day long, but you don't deserve a Band-Aid. You deserve to have to have it figured out. If we liken it to medicine, like to be diagnosed with what's actually going on. Like if you have an autoimmune disorder, you need to figure out they have an autoimmune disorder. If you have a broken leg, you need surgery. You're not going to put a Band-Aid on either of those things. That doesn't work. And that's what this root cause course is. I call it the Burnout Root Cause course because we get to the root cause. We talk about the real things. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to keep it like, I'm going to talk to you. We're going to figure out what's going on. I'm going to ask you the hard questions because those hard questions are the things that help us really dive in and understand where we need to create boundaries so that we can then manage our stress more appropriately. I'm going to hold you accountable as well. We have weekly coaching calls with this online course. We also have daily texting support if you would like we'll have daily reminders about what's going on, like how can we help you? Because 6 weeks is a really beautiful amount of time to work together to really start ingraining a new habit, to start ingraining a new way of doing things. And you might fail, but I'm going to be there to support you because that's okay. We're supposed to fail. There's a beautiful graduation speech by Dessa, one of my favorite Minnesota underground hip hop artists. So if you're into hip hop, go check her out. But regardless, I grew up in Minnesota. She's my girl. But she has this thing about failing, which I think is really appropriate for graduation and life. And she says, go out and start failing more often because we forget what it's like to fail. And then the big failures don't feel so big. So you want to know what? You have a crush on somebody. You think that guy is cute across the way. Go ask him out. Start failing right away. Maybe you'll fail. Maybe you won't fail. But you don't get to know the answer until you try. So we're going to try. We're going to keep trying to do the things to support you so that you can understand your stress better. So that all of these things, let's go back. Where are we at? So that all of these things don't end up killing you. So that you don't get hypertension. So that you don't gain a bunch of weight that you don't want. because your digestive system is messed up, so that you don't have GI issues in general, so that your immune function works, so that you can, like, your reproductive functioning is working well. Like, we want your body to work well. And when we're in a state of stress, you don't get to choose whether or not it works well. When you're in a state of stress, your body is going to maximize its efficiency by deprioritizing a lot of things. And that is physiology. That is your adrenal glands letting go of a hormone, and that is that hormone going into your bloodstream. It's actually really crazy. There's a different type of, so cortisol is the stress hormone. It has it. My physiology teacher would say differently. He calls it like an energy producing hormone or something like that, because it gives us a bunch of energy. But anyways, so cortisol, it interacts differently. Like, hormones can interact differently based on where different receptors are in your body. So the receptors that are in your muscles that interact with cortisol, that works by giving you more power. Like, your muscles get more blood into them, they work better, they work more efficiently. Cortisol, like going to the receptors in your digestive system, actually slows it down. And that's because the type of cells are different in smooth muscle versus skeletal muscles. And you don't get to choose that. Like, your digestive system just isn't going to work as well if you're in a state of stress. So let's complete the stress cycle. Let's make it through it. All right, let's get back here to the front. Excuse me. So that's the online course. The online course, there we go. There we are. We have guided meditations and visualizations as well. We're teaching breathing exercises. We're giving you the skills that you need. And you also have lifetime access to the course. So we work through it in 6 weeks, but if you want to go back to it, if you want to keep going through it, you will have access to that. And we also pair this with wilderness skills. So the online course also has wilderness skills. And this is, there's just such a beautiful way of when we relate like emotional things to physical things. And when we pair those together, it works really well. So you will not only be a powerful person who can go backpacking if you want at the end of this, you will also understand your emotions. It's amazing how the wilderness works. And everybody who is watching this, seeing this, you will all get a $50 discount on the course. And if you are live right now and you want to make sure that you get that discount, just make sure you send me a little message being like, hey, I was on the online course, or I was on the workshop, would love that discount for the online course. Let me know. I'll send it over to you. And then the big thing that is like the most powerful thing is the Women's Wellness Retreat. This is the 3-day retreat here in Southern Utah. This helps everybody slow down, because the most powerful thing about this event, one, the desert is innately really calming and beautiful. But next is it's a full digital detox. You don't have your phone, you don't have the time, you don't have anything dinging at you. You don't have your computer like telling you that there's emails or anything like that, because you deserve a few days to fully let go and to fully be over the things that our technology brings to us. So when we're doing that full digital detox, we get to not be bothered by anybody. You truly get to, like, everybody who's here right now, pause whatever you're doing, unless you're driving a car, do not do that. But if you have the ability to close your eyes and just take a deep breath, let it out, do that right now. These women's wellness retreats, we bring community in. There's small groups of women on purpose, because when we are a small group of women, we all get to be fully seen and heard. Everything is included, so you just got to show up. We make it as easy as it can be, because it's a lot of work to get away from your stressful life. That is the number one thing that every single one of the women in this picture has struggled with, is how am I going to get away? How are my kids going to survive without me? How is my husband? How is my partner? How am I going to afford this? How am I going to get myself all the way out to Utah? How am I going to, what is my job going to do without me? I'm not going to be on my phone for 2 days, 3 days. What's my job going to do? Every single one of those women has struggled with that. And every single one of those women came home and everything was just fine. That's the beauty of the wilderness. You get to go have a powerful experience, to truly let go. Let somebody else take care of your kid. Let yourself be taken care of. And then we come out and we take care of you. We dive in. We really help you have a powerful experience. We set you up for success, and you get to spend some time alone and with each other, all of the things. It's really beautiful. If you have more interest in this, make sure you sign up for that call so we can chat about it, because these retreats, there's nothing like it. There's literally nothing like it out in the world. And everybody who's here right now gets a $495 discount. It's basically $500 off. But that like makes it a round number for the actual pricing. So everybody here gets a $500 discount, and that discount is going to help get you out here. That is because you need this event. I can guarantee it. Maybe you, but most people, I need this. My friends need this. Spending time alone in the wilderness is unique. It is different. It changes the way things are, and it's powerful. So if you have interest in that, if you just want to know more about your stress personally, like how your stress is interacting with your life, sign up for this free one-on-one grounding call. Like this grounding call, it's that intro call. We're going to dive into stress. We're going to dive into what's going on for you, how maybe we can help you, what you can start doing for yourself today. We're going to be diving in. So I'm going to be sending a follow-up email. But if I should have most of your emails, but if you are live watching this and you want to get sent something, just be sure to send it over to me. Send me your email and I'll make sure you get on the list. And the last thing is follow us on Instagram. We have TikTok as well. We semi-post on there. Facebook, we just opened a new Facebook group, and this Facebook group is all about how we can support you guys with your stress. We're giving weekly tips on that. We're creating community there. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions, and I would love to answer any questions. So that is all I have for you, beautiful creatures, today. Let me know, send a question in the chat or in the Facebook Live, and I will be here. Let me check my other thing. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for showing up. Thank you for the time and information. You're so welcome. If you were here late, be sure to watch the first half. There's a lot of great things in there too. And I will make sure everybody gets the link for this. Amazing. Well, thank you, everybody. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Send me a message on Instagram or Facebook if anything comes up, or if you just want to tell me that you did something to complete your stress cycle, you went out to see your dogs, whatever it was, let me know. Cheers.